Greetings, my fellow Freeman 7 Thinkers. This is LL3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful Swampy Mangoes of South Florida. And today's date, Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday, February 10th, 2016. Yeah, it's going to be nice and brisky tonight in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and across the rest of the Tri-County area and beyond the northern states, of course, northern part of the state as well. So hopefully everyone out there across the country, stay warm, dress warm, and don't panic. 45 degrees for me is like fall in Salt Lake City, Utah. So I enjoy it. I lived in South Florida for 39 years. I don't consider it freezing, but I have fun going out there, wearing my shorts, taking my dog out, and just strut around in all good faith, entertainingly speaking. That is, it was interesting because I was watching that video because I heard like Hillary Clinton lost the primaries and Bernie Sanders in the live free or die state of New Hampshire. And I was watching the speech, and I could see in her eyes she is totally infuriated. And she's like using that same rhetoric that her husband used for the past 24 years. And people like, yay, in the background, which I know they're all a bunch of hired fools anyway. They probably can't stand that woman, but they got bribed and went there to make themselves look pretty. It's called a jack-o'-lantern masquerade parade or masquerade party, I would say, when it comes to someone like her. But one thing I noticed, it was hilarious. She was infuriated, and I was watching a Mark Dice video about this. He calls them Santa Claus, I don't care about freedom, but I'll give you free crap, And I was like, yeah, call for revolution, Bernie Sanders. I go, to all you Sanders fans, he's not revolutionary enough. He hates freedom with the passion, and at least he has the audacity to admit that. Okay, so don't follow the hype of Bernie. He's going to burn you all as president because he's going to be another bellboy. Okay? Well, one thing I like about it is the establishment is worried because now I don't know if it's going to happen, if she's going to get indicted. There's possibilities. I'm not going to have my hopes too high, but the credibility is blowing back in her face. And it even includes the Republican GOP debates as well. Both parties right now are in real complete cahoots, okay? Even Hillary's fraternal twin brother, Jeb, or Joseph Ellis Bush, is getting the same treatment, okay? And people are really seeing it. You're not talking to a man who's a Trump supporter, all right? I'll make that really clear. But one thing I like what Donald's doing is pushing certain buttons that is really ticking them off. But can I expect him to be a Judas goat? Of course. You've got to stay vigilant. The biggest mistake what the establishment is doing is scapegoating these people, okay, with Sir Sanders or Trump. Okay, they are scapegoating them like they're the worst thing since sliced bread, and they want to support these other anti-freedom idiots, and I say that politely. They want you to support them. You know what? I wipe my behind with them. That's how I feel, and I say that out of principle. Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of these candidates now are just anti-Bill of Rights supporters, period. If they compromise our Bill of Rights culture, they are not your friend. They are not your buddies. Plain and simple. But I had a big kick out of it. Seeing Hillary's eyes with a fist in the air of anger and hostility. Oh, congratulate Bernie Sanders. But she was totally infuriated. That's one thing I like. It's blowback. And I told the people from 2012, the 2012 convention, or the Republican National Convention, GOP National Convention, whatever the hell you want to call it, in Tampa, when the Ron Paul supporters start calling them out. All right, and I like that, and I told people it's gonna backfire on these yahoos, and it is, little by little. But doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. You pursue. You be proactive. You don't have to be a fanatic, but have your own different avenues and how to put the word out. We all have different techniques, styles, and methods, and this is why I have to say I am enjoying this right now. I'm not even watching the debates, okay? It's like a bread and circuses, but I love the results so far. So I gotta give them homage to that. But with all these primaries and caucuses, all is just a delegate count. That's all it is. Just how many delegates it can get for the convention. So this is how you got to look at it. I'm paying attention more in the House. In the Senate, yeah, but mostly the states and the local governments. It's good to pursue with those as well. And I'm going to have to do this in future shows, throwing stuff in the local level, even in Fort Lauderdale. So, sorry about that. But that's how you got to look at it, my friends. You got to always pay attention. This is why I'm always speaking my mind in a lot of areas, which is okay. So I'm still stoked. Like I said, I'm a little bit motivated, hyped up. And like I say, some people out there are trying to get interested in my life, which is great. And doesn't mean I'm going to be girlfriend, boyfriend, or anything like that. It's just I love positive energy because I put it out and then there's an exchange. So some of those people, they know who they are, and I thank them for that, bottom of my heart, because I needed it as well. I love giving it. I love to receive, and it's not in a lustful manner either. It's more like infinite love. Okay, I sound like David Icke, but hey, it's okay. But this is how I am. Observe, and please don't. Like I told folks, I'm a nice guy, but you think I'm going to take advantage of me, it can blow back at your face at any time. It happens enough in my life. A lot of folks claim that they can pull punches and get away with it, and it backfires on them because you got a lot of individuals out there, ingrates, that can't even take care of themselves, can't even use it, can't even not even potty train, can't take care of their own affairs. So to all those folks out there that have these psychic vampire attributes, forget about it. Because the bottom line is this: it isn't going to work. Plain and simple. This is how I see it. So that is really it on that area. So that's enough of my little ranting. All right. Well, the first thing I'm going to be talking about actually came from Yahoo News, like an hour or so. This is great. This is here. Prosecutor, ex-LA sheriff plead guilty to incorruption case, and it says right here, former Los Angeles Sheriff Lee Baca has agreed to plead guilty to lying to investigators during a federal corruption probe that tainted his career, prosecutors said Wednesday. Baca stepped down from the helm of the nation's largest sheriff's department in 2014 amid people that led to charges against underlings for beating inmates and for trying to thwart an FBI investigation into those beatings. Baca signed a plea guilty agreement that he ordered deputies to intimidate an FBI agent and do everything but put handcuffs on her. Baca later lied to federal prosecutors and the FBI that he wasn't privy to discussions about trying to derail the investigation. Baca was scheduled to plead guilty later in the day to a single count of lying to federal investigators. He could face up to 6 months in prison under the deal. He would be allowed to withdraw his guilty plea if the judge decided he deserved a longer sentence. In that case, prosecutors will proceed to obtain an indictment. This is not a day of celebration for us, U.S. Attorney Eileen Decker said during a news conference. It's a sad day when the leader of a law enforcement agency fails to honor his oath and instead of upholding justice, chooses to obstruct it. Baca, who ran the department for more than 15 years, traveled the world to speak about policing tactics, said he was out of touch. He was going on. He denied knowing about the efforts to stifle the probe by hiding an inmate who was an FBI informant. I'm sorry. This is hilarious. You guys, you need a good foot up his butt, too. I will continue on here. U.S. Attorney Eileen Decker announces that former Los Angeles Sheriff Lee Baca has agreed to. Baca avoided charges for years as prosecutors moved up the ranks to indict a number of officers and eventually his second in command. In May, when former Undersheriff Paul Tanaka and another high-ranking member of the department were charged with obstructing justice, prosecutors declined to comment on whether Baca was under investigation. Tanaka is facing trial but his co-defendant, former Captain Tom Carey, pleaded guilty and agreed to testify in the related court proceedings. It is not clear that if that included providing a grand jury testimony against Baca. On January 24th, Baca sidestepped questions about whether he was worried he might be indicted, but acknowledged that more of his employees may face charges. I find this hilarious. I'm sorry, okay? I'm not afraid of reality. I'm only afraid of people who don't tell the truth, like I said at the time. There's photos in here as well. So, David Balrich, assistant director in charge of FBI's Los Angeles field office podium, to talk. 17 members of the department have been convicted of federal crimes, including beating inmates, obstructing justice, bribery, and conspiracy. The convictions stem from a grand jury investigation that began in 2010 into allegations of abuse and corruption at the downtown men's central jail. Deputies tried to hide an FBI jail informant from his handlers for weeks in 2011 by shifting him from cell to cell at various jails on the different days and altering jail computer records. The FBI wanted the informant to testify to a grand jury. After Baca learned of the investigation, he met with Tanaka, Carey, and Lieutenant in September 2011 and told them to approach Special Agent Leah Marks, one of the inmate's handlers. According to court documents, the next day, officers threatened to arrest Marks for interviewing in their jurisdiction. David Baldwich, the FBI's Los Angeles chief, said Baca has continuously denied playing a role in the corruption, even as his rank-and-file deputies face prison time. He had an opportunity to lead, Baldwich said. He did not lead. There is no excuse for the decisions that were made. Tanaka retired from the department in 2013 and ran unsuccessfully to replace his former boss, losing by a wide margin to Jim McDonald. Tanaka faces trial next month. Baca deals did not require him to testify against his former undersheriff. Well, well, well. Welcome to Blowback. Corruption doesn't pay. It's it's so funny because I had to take an FBI to do this investigation. I'm not going to knock them completely, but the whole thing is a lot of folks got to start realizing you can't always run to the federal government. The people in the city, that county, can do something about it. Exercise your natural born rights. You got to let these parasites like Baca and his cronies and anyone else that's in there, you need us more, we need you. Remember the sovereign immunity tort liability, police protection myth, even in California, including the deputies of Los Angeles County. But playing this little cloak and dagger, like cloak and dagger, Parcheesi version of it, Parcheesi version of cloak and dagger, it is totally pathetic. This is why I'm laughing. We got all these hot shots. Oh yeah, I'm a sheriff of this county. Yeah, and you suck at it, So I just get a big kick out of these things, man. It's like Fred and circuses on the local level. So the whole truth of the matter is that people in that county and everyone else in the United States of America and out the world, you got to let them know, hey, you need us more, we need you. Not taking the law in your own hands to be vigilantes, my friend. But sometimes a little rebellion now and then is good. That's what Thomas Jefferson says. But you got these corrupt bastards think their manure don't stink, and their anal vapors is just as potent as mine, or maybe worse. So I think it's hilarious. I'm laughing. I would like to meet the Stooges and just laugh at them because I'm tired of this crap. These pathetic people think they have the upper hand, and you know what? It's the spiritual awakening has been accelerating little by little. There's another battle, my friends. Okay, but it hasn't been completed. Just another chapter in the books of corruption. And I'm laughing at them so hard. Speaking of this, of interesting thing of corruption, it actually came out last week. Okay, ExaroNews.com. It came out February 3rd to be exact. I think it's from David Icke's website. So I had to take the initiative to check it out. It says here, police probe cover-up over Peter Morrison's Exaro debate here by Mark Watts and Matthew Gilley. Police have opened an investigation into why allegations against Tony Grandy, Sir Peter Morrison, sexually molesting underage boys were dropped. Ooh, another child molesting ringleader or master or member, whatever you want to call it. Now we'll continue on. Paul Canoe, former editor of the Sunday Mirror, made disclosure while speaking at Exaro's panel debate on child sex abuse. Only this week, he said, I had to meet the police again because they have ongoing investigations into why Sir Peter Morrison was protected. Kunu wrote for Exaro last year about the Sunday Mirror's attempt to expose the late Morrison, former parliamentary private secretary PPS, to Lady Thatcher when she was prime minister for sexually assaulting underage boys. Oh yeah, member. Oh well, Margaret Thatcher is such a great conservative, but she has some people in there are very dirty. So she's dead. So I guess I'm gonna go. Kunu told Zaro debate the sources were police officers who were sickened by the fact that Morrison had been arrested, but far from being ashamed when he was asked to the police station that this applies in London and in Chester. His constituency, he pulled rank. He demanded to see most those senior officers there. Phone calls were made. Hey, presto, nothing happened. Or I think in one case there was a short of mild caution delivered. Robert Montagu, son of another late former Conservative MP, Victor Montagu, the 10th Earl of the Sandwich, said, "My story starts when I was 7 and my father was in his middle 50s. My abuse started and went on for 5 years until I was 11. He was a very high-profile backbencher, very popular, and a very loving man. No one knew about his secret side of him. Documents disclosed under the Freedom of Information Act showed last year that Robert's father, who died in 1995, escaped charges in 1972 of indecently assaulting a boy over a period of nearly 2 years. All this stuff are links in here too, so you can check it out yourselves. Okay, he was let off with a caution after he promised that he would not see the boy again. At the Exaro debate, Robert Matagu made an impassioned plea for mandatory reporting, a legal requirement to report any CSA complaint. He said, until we have mandatory reporting in this country, these abuses will continue to take place. They will continue in the family home, and they will continue in schools, and they will continue in colleges, in juvenile clubs, and every place that children are gathered. We cannot have a situation in which people in a position of trust are informed by those children of what is going on in their lives and nothing is done about it. They must be obliged by law to declare what they have been told by a child. The entire panel supported mandatory reporting. Marion Jones, former investigative producer at BBC Two's Newsnight and BBC One's Panorama, said mandatory reporting is the only way we're going to change this climate. Esther Baker, the complainant in a huge police investigation into CSA allegations, including claims against prominent people, said that the media was still part of a cover-up, saying there seems to be quite a barrier surrounding the establishment. It is all very well having the mandatory reporting after the event, but we need to be focusing on safeguarding so people cannot get to these children. In a special contribution to the debate, David Henschke branded the media's as totally schizophrenic over the issues of CSA and by VIPs. And Mark Conrad talked about the many falsehoods printed and broadcast in recent months about Operation Midland, the Metropolitan Police Service's investigation to allegations against VIPs and CSA and the murder of 3 boys by the group. These amount to some very pretty vicious and misinformed attacks on police witnesses, including the witnesses that we all call Nick. Not only are these articles often simply wrong, they are also fly in the face of the sensible advice published by the Solicitor General. That advice asks all media not to prejudge the outcome of police investigations while they are still underway. And as the BBC reels from the exposure of CSA at a broadcaster and of its attempts to stifle such disclosure, Jones has delivered a damning warning. The lessons to whistleblowers is that you can't trust the BBC. There's a video which is hour and 40 minutes long on this debate last week. And so there's other articles in here as well. And it was interesting because even reading some of the books, some of the books from David Icke, one of them, The Biggest Secret, he did talk about these sex rings, sex abuse, child sex abuse rings, which is very blasphemous. All right, and always keep that in mind. Maybe call this guy a effing nut job, but I'm always observant to these areas. You got a lot of sick bastards out there that believe they're more powerful than anybody and they're untouchable. It's going on all over England and the world. We need to expose these parasites at all costs, even throw a silver stake in their hearts, symbolically speaking. They're vampirically evil. And this is why I get really disturbed when I hear these things. And even with the stuff I don't talk about, like the sex slave trade, okay, even with young women and so forth, and men, take them around the world, cross country, they're doing these shipping. It's completely unacceptable. And these folks, to me, they're like cancer. Or like garbage. You got to take them out, put them in the dumpster. And I say that in a symbolic way. So this is why I am what I am. Maybe people out here may call me a crazy SOB, which is fine. But you're going to support these sick puppies? Then you're just not more than a pure, hypocritical peon. And that's why, my friends, the information war, like BBC and all these big lamestream media, they're getting their behinds whipped. So whatever you do, you always got to stand your ground, including with these vultures. And that's some of it for that. All right, next one here came from Washington Times. Give me a couple things on Washington Times. It's about Hillary Clinton, so the pathetic woman she is. And it says here, Hillary Clinton leans on minorities to receive campaigns. Can we call it a bribe? I think so. She wants to bribe those particular folks and gonna give them the fist in the rear. Okay, so this is what we got. This is from the Washington Times, and it says here: Hillary Clinton is looking to rally minority voters in Nevada and South Carolina as a way to blunt the momentum of Senator Bernard Sanders, whose New Hampshire primary victory this week poked a hole in her campaign narrative. Mr. Sanders dominated among white middle-class voters in the Democratic primary, making a reversal of Mrs. Clinton, who relied on her constituencies and her failed 2008 campaign to counter Barack Obama's strength among minorities. This time, it's Mrs. Clinton who is counting on a more diverse electorate to help her as race turns westward, where Hispanic voters will play a big role in Nevada's caucuses, and to the south, where black voters make up more than half of South Carolina's Democratic primary. It's called Let's Use These People, because she don't give a damn about you. She wants to use those folks. And you know what? Those folks are waking up as well, because they're learning to think more freely, taking the initiative on doing their homework. I will proceed, telegraphing her intentions in her New Hampshire concession speech. Ms. Clinton called for breaking the barriers of bigotry, laminating shooting by police officers to give a nod to Flint, Michigan, where the water crisis has a devastating effect on the predominantly minority community. In conceding New Hampshire, Hillary Clinton starts with the travesty of Flint, which will be heard loud and clear in SC. David Axelrod, Mr. Obama's former top advisor, said on Twitter. The Clinton campaign announced Wednesday that prominent black movie stars Angela Bassett, Vivica Fox, and Sean Patrick Thomas had plans to stump on her behalf in South Carolina. So they're going to be using the figureheads from the Church of Hollywood. Whatever you do, my friends, don't jump on the hype. Don't believe the hype. You're being bribed. You're being brainwashed. It's another form of subliminal messaging, public relations, Edward Bernays' book, Propaganda. I call it Propaganda 101. I will continue on here. Mrs. Clinton also received endorsement from mothers of Erica Garner, Dontre Hamilton, and Jordan Davis. 3 black men died as a result of gun violence or at the hands of police being used again. Okay? More cancerous swindling. Continue on. Mr. Sanders scored a blowout victory in New Hampshire with 60% of the vote compared with Mrs. Clinton's 38%. Clinton advisors were hoping to keep the race within single digits, making the margin of her loss all more devastating. Ms. Clinton lost to Sanders among all key demographics except voters older than 65, non-whites, and those with household incomes of more than $200,000, according to exit polling. Perhaps most devastating was finding that a majority of the New Hampshire Democratic primary voters didn't think Mrs. Clinton was honest and trustworthy, according to the Associated Press. I know she is a criminal that needs to go in prison through judicial due process. Okay, you heard that from me again. She should be in prison. While Republican voters point to questions surrounding Mrs. Clinton's emails during her time as Secretary of State, Democrats are likely of docking her from her unwilling to release the transcripts of her paid Wall Street speeches. Oh, yeah. Who let the cows out? Moo, 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 moo. Mr. Sanders, while pushing his message of economic inequality, has hit Mrs. Clinton for accepting cash from Wall Street and large industry groups. Well, I'll say it won't influence her policies. This is totally comical. It's like saying that I could sell you land on Pluto. Okay, so, all right. We says here what we're seeing is a generational change in the Democratic Party, says Andrew Smith of the University of New Hampshire Survey Center. To young people, socialism doesn't mean the Cold War or gulags. It means their summer vacation to Europe. Mr. Sanders said it raised more than $5 million in the 18 hours after the primary victory. Mr. Sanders said he's ready to fight in Nevada and in South Carolina. And let's see what the continuing statement is here. So I'm going to pursue it. Trying to page 2. Bum, bum, bum. So this is interesting. Let's see what I can get here. He sought to counter Mrs. Clinton's support among black voters by holding a high-profile breakfast meeting with Reverend Al Sharpton in New York City. It's like, yeah, divide and rule. That's my business. Who am I, Al Sharpton? The two met at the same restaurant where Mr. Sharpton sat down with candidate Barack Obama in 2008. Although Mr. Sharpton had not offered a formal endorsement of Mr. Sanders, the meeting is a sign that the black leaders are giving the senator from Vermont another look. Former NAACP President Benjamin Jealous has endorsed Mr. Sanders, saying the senator has been a consistent, clear voice against racism. But when it comes to your freedoms, he don't care about you regardless of what you look like. Okay? Mr. Sanders has plenty of ground to make up. A recent Fox News poll shows that Mrs. Clinton has 71% of non-white vote compared with 20% Mr. Sanders. A December poll by YouGov showed Mrs. Clinton winning about 80% of the black vote in South Carolina compared with the 20% of Mr. Sanders. Mrs. Clinton spent Monday in New York amid reports that she was considering a campaign shakeup. Democratic strategists have faith that she can retool her campaign and messaging and emerging as the party's nominee. I expect the Clinton campaign to make a very aggressive case over the next several weeks that her experience and tenacity will be used as president to fight on behalf of the values and policies that motivate the progressive base of the Democratic Party, namely ending economic inequality, protecting voting rights, stopping Donald Trump, or whoever ends up as a Republican nominee, said Craig Baroga, campaign strategist and longtime Democratic Party political operative. Yeah, progress. You mean tyranny. Okay? This is how pathetic they think you people are. All right? You're going to use Al Sharpton? Give me a break. The guy's a pissant as far as I'm concerned. So, and this is why I get a big laugh. These clowns are walking around with no clothes. Probably the only thing they're probably being covered with is a leaf between their legs. Okay, I don't have to be too explicit. I say that in the symbolic form. I don't know why you still want to hang on guys like Al Sharpton because people start calling them out too, and a lot of them are African descent. American people are African descent. Okay, so I have to get a big kick out of this, and I'm glad this is happening. That's why I'm so stoked and excited. But to keep my guard up and be vigilant as well of what's going on in 2016 because I am just sitting back and laughing. And I see people want me to support this garbage around me, I'm just going to laugh at their face. And if you don't like it, too bad. Because I'm pro Bill of Rights. Better not. That includes Hillary and Sanders. So this is why I'm laughing, because I know she's upset, angry. You know what? I don't give a damn, because she is nothing more than a treasonous parasite, a Jezebelian harlot to the New World Order. She has no merit whatsoever. And this is why I always examine things thoroughly. And I don't care about her actions. And hey, about protecting the people and the children. Yeah, when it came to Libya, uh, she didn't give a damn about the people in Libya. She just wanted to wipe them off the damn ground. That's okay, because it's Hillary. I'm ready for Hillary. So yeah, you got my sympathies. How about just, you want to get ready for Hillary? Just jump off a bridge with cement blocks around your ankles, okay? That's what I got to say about Hillary, the supporters of Hillary Clinton. And you know what? I dare you come after me on this. Please. And back it up. Have your merits on why she should be president of the United States. Not because she's a woman. I don't give a damn if she's a transvestite. She is filthy, dirty, disgusting. All right, it's like deprecation attributes. All right, so I'm going to continue on here with a couple of more Muppets that supports Hillary Clinton. Gloria Steinem and Madeleine Albright. Ugh, I seen that person. I seen Madeleine Albright in person. She looks hideous. An overgrown Muppet, far as I'm concerned. Hurts Hillary Clinton voters. Being a feminist, Gloria Steinem and former Secretary of State Madeleine K. Albright onto campaign trial where they both chastised younger women for not supporting Democrat presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. Maybe the reason why Mrs. Clinton lost the female vote so handily in New Hampshire, analysts say. One of the jarring things that occurred to me is a sort have been underreported, is a quote from Madeleine Albright and Gloria Steinem, supposedly to get women to support Hillary Clinton only because she's a woman. Political columnist Michael Bernacle said Wednesday on MSNBC's Good Morning Joe program. Ugh, man, that show's still on the air? Oh, my goodness. That does not work. It did not work. I think a lot of younger women especially found it offensive. On the campaign trail in New Hampshire last week, Mrs. Albright introduced Mrs. Clinton as a former Secretary of State to the crowd and repeated one of her often used memes. There's a special place in hell for women who don't help each other. Yeah, I was like, look, if I was a woman, I wouldn't even help you too, you overgrown Miss Piggy. That's Miss Albright, that is. Okay? Shoot. I'll just go to the bathroom. I'll find out more intriguing and endorse. I'll endorse the toilet, Johnny Crapper, the toilet bowl, than Mrs. Clinton. All right? I'm just going to continue on and shut up here. Immediately, backlash against the comment went viral. I don't need at Madeleine Albright telling me I'm going to go to hell just because I'm a woman who's not voting for at Hillary Clinton. Feel the burn, Sarah wrote on Twitter. Well, Sarah, I'll say one thing, Sarah. Don't jump on the hype. All right. Gloria Steinem talks to a reporter at her home in New York. Hey, let me see here. There's more on that. Screw it. It's all pictures, so who cares? And it says here, hey, Madam Albright, at least the hell you just came into. Ow, feel the burn, tweeted Shoshana Howard, communications director at Full Court Press, a social change organization. On social media, ignited. Jess Larrick, Mrs. Clinton's rapid response spokeswoman, tweeted, "Peeps freaking out about that Madeleine Albright. Quote, it's not new. It was literally a Starbucks on a Starbucks cup." Still, Mrs. Albright's comments were compounded with a statement by Miss Steinem, who is stumping for Mrs. Clinton. Over the weekend, Miss Steinem told comedian Bill Maher on his late-night TV show Real Time that the reason young women are supporting Senator Bernard Sanders of Vermont over Mrs. Clinton is because men tend to get more conservative because they gain power as they age, and women get more radical because they lose power as they age. What the hell? Are these people in the Twilight Zone? I'll proceed. She continued to explain Mr. Sanders' supporting among young women. When you're young, you're thinking, where are the boys? The boys are with Bernie. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Could we say, dumb down and proud? Miss Stein's apology on her Facebook page said her comments were talk show interrupt us. I misspoke on Bill Maher's show recently and apologized for what's been misinterpreted as implying young women aren't serious in their politics, Ms. Steinem wrote. On Sunday, Mrs. Clinton defends her surrogate, said she, in an appearance on MNC's Meet the Press, that Miss Albright's words were light-hearted but very pointed remark, which people can take however they choose. Mrs. Clinton said that that fight for women's rights isn't over, and that millennials need to be more cognizant and appreciative of the progress made by women before them. I think what Miss Albright was trying to do, when she does in every setting I've ever seen her in going back 20 plus years, was to remind you women particularly that this struggle, which many of us have been part of, is not over, Mrs. Clinton said. Oh, up yours, Hillary. Good grief. So blasphemous as usual. And I'm going to continue on here. I didn't know these are 2 pages long, but you know what? Who the hell cares? I'm enjoying this. Hopefully you are too. So it says here, that message that's clearly not resonating with the younger generation, said Andrew Smith, director of the University of New Hampshire Survey Center, to young women whose mothers may be doctors or lawyers, or who may have a boss that is a woman. The world looks and feels different than the one Hillary Clinton is describing. Mrs. Smith said, the message Clinton is pitching doesn't resonate. It is not their world. Sanders is giving a speech that's more in line with their experiences and with values of these younger voters. Mr. Sanders said gender shouldn't play part in electing the next president of the United States. Well, look, I think this is an unfortunate statement, Mr. Sanders said. Miss Albright's comments in Concord, New Hampshire on Sunday. She said, women should help women, women should help men, men should help women, and men should help men. That's what life's about. We're not talking about electing the president of the United States, and people should make the decision based on who they think can do the best. Job best. Okay, she's flip-flopping. She probably hung up with Mitt Romney to get advice on how to be a flip-flopping stooge. In New Hampshire, Mrs. Clinton lost the female vote by 11 percentage points, with 7 and 10 younger than 45 voting for Mr. Sanders. In Iowa last week, 29 and younger voted the 6-1 margin for Mr. Sanders over Mrs. Clinton, according to polling conducted by the Associated Press. And I'll be right back. Yes, my friends, that's why I'm laughing so hard. You see all these people talking about, how dare you hurt their feelings, you're hurting my feelings, God. Hillary Clinton. Look, Mrs. Albright is nothing more than a stooge, okay? And the fact is this, she's a warmongering demonade, all right? Plain and simple. She don't care about the women. How about the women that died in Iraq and the children that got murdered in Iraq and said it was justifiable? She's garbage, okay? Plain and simple. This time I'm gonna be a gentleman, but when I hear these ingrates, okay, she looks like like I look at a photo of this person, man. It's like Dawn of the Dead, for goodness sakes. It's really unacceptable, and this is why I can't get mad anymore. I'm just being assertive and put their feet to the fire. All right, this is and you gotta that's why, folks, you gotta stay vigilant with these vultures, because the truth of the matter is, when you hear these people speak, you just gotta laugh at them. You should throw some big pile of garbage and toss it right on the podium. That's how much respect. That's the respect they've earned. Okay, so the truth of the matter is, you have to always keep them on their toes. All right, because the whole thing, she's got exposed, man. So they're all walking around wearing no clothes. I know I'm repeating myself, but you know what? That's okay. And I'm sorry if I'm digressing, like harping it. Forgive me on that, my friends. But I'm enjoying this. Okay, I really am. All right, this one here came from the Voice of Liberty. And this is great. It's all politics right now in the United States. So most of these subjects. It says here, all president candidates are drug warriors. Yes, even Bernie. February 10th. There's a video link on here as well. You can check it out yourself. Jacob Harbinger, president of Future of Freedom Foundation shows that how the war on drugs is supported by all presidential candidates. Yes, even Bernie Sanders. In the run-up to New Hampshire primary, Jeb Bush brought up his daughter's drug-related problems again, and this motivated Ted Cruz to talk about his half-sister's death from drug problems. So since they're bringing this up in the midst of a presidential campaign, you think, oh well, this means they're going to shift their position on the drug war. Not so. They want to continue waging the war on drugs, and they're thirsty to become president so they can send other people's daughters and sisters into penitentiaries of America. It is no different from any other presidential candidates. I wish I could tell you it was different from or on the Democratic Party side. Yes, because you know why? Don't be surprised if they're if they're getting money from the corporation, the corrections. Corporations of Correctional Corporations of America, CCA, and Geo Group. Don't be surprised. Okay? Hillary Clinton has been one of the most fierce proponents of the drug war as far as I can remember. Her husband, Bill Clinton, certainly was, and she's been faithfully serving Barack Obama, who's been a fierce proponent of the war on drugs. And Bernie Sanders, when he calls himself a consistent progressive, he wants to legalize and decriminalize marijuana, but wants to continue sending people who are addicted to heroin and cocaine and other illicit drugs into penitentiaries of America. That's what goes on for the consistency in the progressive movement. This drug war has caused untold damage to all people all over the world. It causes death and destruction, official corruption, and it destroys the freedom in America. It's time for the American people to say enough's enough to bring this war to an end so that no matter who is president, he cannot do any more damage to ruin any more lives. Do you think Bernie Sanders gets too much credit for his position on the drug war? Do your own comments. Well, you know what? It shows how hypocritical these people are. The video link's on here as well. You can hear his own words. So it's like a transcript version. But I am just saying to these candidates, they are pro-victimless crime law. They support victimless crime laws. They want to do a restructure of the 18th Amendment in their own pathetic ways to keep their buddies making money in these pathetic areas. So this is why I tell people about the drug war. Is a lot of things can be done. You can use jury nullification as well. No victim, no crime. And then even with the drug courts, I've been telling people, you have a right to have a jury of your peers. If they say they can't do that, you give them a P9 microphone. Everyone's got to start ridiculing these parasites as well. Non-appreciative individuals. So that's how you got to be aggressive on these areas. Truth, justice, and the good institution's way doesn't get you anywhere. Plus, being a doormat, human doormat, is a turnoff to me. So, this is why. Educate yourselves in these areas. You have your natural-born rights. Your rights are enumerated. They can say whatever they want, Washington, D.C., state, and local level. Doesn't matter. Your basic rights are in his face, prima facie. Look at the 9th Amendment U.S. Constitution and your state constitution. It's in there. Don't be afraid of these people. They want you to live in fear. They want you to go, okay, well, I'll do a plea bargain. And if you go even to these courtrooms, if you see the golden ridges around these flags, that's an illegal American flag. I don't support maritime law. I support common law. So it's time to call them out. And being intimidated and going, okay, I'll surrender myself. Then you should say, I support tyranny. Real patriots love Mao Tse-tung and Joseph Stalin, etc. It doesn't matter. So definitely, we got to end this drug war. The 18th Amendment got repealed because it didn't go anywhere. This brought organized crime. Then they want to now continue with the drug war, which is totally unacceptable. Okay, so next one here, finally, came from Blacklisted News. Actually came from Free Thought Press, or Free Thought Project. This is entitled, Report All Cannabis is Used Medicinal, wherever you know it or not. In the past 2 years, we have witnessed a sea change in the attitude of Americans toward cannabis. Colorado made history becoming the first state to completely criminalize possession and use of the plant, with Washington and other states soon following. Medical cannabis use now legal in 23 states, and others will soon be joining that list. Poll says that a solid majority of Americans support cannabis legalization, especially for medicinal use. The Free Thought Project has reported on many incredible ways that cannabis is being used to treat a variety of ailments. Its effectiveness at reducing or eliminating epileptic seizures and nothing in short of amazing. People are also realizing that the war on cannabis, on all drugs for the matter, is a war on people carried out by law enforcement to restrict freedom and to extort millions of dollars of victimless behavior. Drug Enforcement Agency gained a sizable amount of revenue through cannabis seizures. The dry plant also provides an ample opportunity for local law enforcement to carry out its favors most insidious of extortion known as civil asset forfeiture. Exactly. The good news is that these abuses of human rights are being exposed and law enforcement is sounding ever more desperate as justification for their actions withers under the advance of reason and logic. When cannabis is finally decriminalized everywhere, our evolution from the days of reefer madness will provide an entertaining yet tragic documentary. The fight continues, and we must build on the momentum if we are to see it to completion. The arguments for legalization are many, and they are sound, but perhaps the entire narrative needs to be reconsidered as we make the final push. Daniel Marquis, owner of Helicon Organics, suggests that the very idea of recreational use is flawed and actually hampers the progress toward legalization. Recreational cannabis use is the most detrimental phase of our industry faces today. Over half the U.S. population supports recreational use of cannabis. Unfortunately, those who do not support recreational use oppose it vitriolically. Recreational cannabis is exactly what the opposition is fighting to prevent. The flip side is that over 80% of Americans support medical cannabis use and over 85% freedom in healthcare decisions. All these statistics are trending upwards. In the South, recreational cannabis use is a non-starter and a debate that cannot be empirically won. On the other hand, medical cannabis use is a debate we win, and we don't need to manipulate our messaging to change the debate. We need only to correctly identify medicinal use. The basis for this argument lies in our increasing understanding of a part of the human psychology and the endocannabinoid system, which is turning out to be a vital to many lives supporting processes. In 2006, the National Institute of Health reported the recent identification of cannabinoid receptors and their endogenous lipid ligands has triggered an exponential growth of studies exploring the endocannabinoid system and its regulatory function in health and disease. In the past decade, the endocannabinoid system has been implicated in a growing number of psychological functions both in the central and peripheral nervous system and in peripheral organs. More importantly, modulating the activity of endocannabinoid system turn out to hold the therapeutic promise in a range of desperate diseases and pathological conditions, ranging from mood and anxiety disorders, movement disorders such as Parkinson's and Huntington's disease, neuropathic pain, multiple sclerosis, spinal cord injury, to cancer, atherosclerosis, myocardial infarction, stroke, hypertension, glaucoma, obesity, metabolic syndrome, and osteoporosis, to just to name a few. We have seen an explosion of studies looking at medical use of cannabis and its abstracts as a center on modulating the activities of endocannabinoid system as described above. With modern technology, we are discovering the mechanics of something known as to the ancients. Cannabis is a medicine. People have used it this way for thousands of years. We can now extract the non-psychoactive components of cannabis, such as cannabinoid, to successfully treat debilitating conditions such as epileptic seizures. We can find out which phytocannabinoids are most beneficial to specific diseases and figure out exactly how much the extract is needed for the best results. Scientific knowledge will validate what many cannabis users already know. The plant can provide relief from certain ailments and stimulate some of the best human qualities, such as creativity and empathy. Mar- Macris has interviewed several people and found the use of cannabis for conditions that would otherwise be treated with pharmaceutical drugs in the current paradigm. It makes me relax. It helps me sleep. It calms me down. It helps me think. It helps my stomach calm down. And it helps me talk to people. Are some of the ways people have said cannabis helps them. All these conditions, all these conditions, anxiety, sleep disorder, ADHD, inflamed bowels, and social anxiety are targeted by pharmaceutical companies that vigorously advertise their manufactured pills with government complicity. Recreational cannabis users are using cannabis for medical purposes. They just don't realize it, said Macris. When someone says they're a recreational user, they should be considering saying therapeutic user. This would be far more effective to push completely decriminalizing cannabis as a recreational implies that can be used on the level of alcohol and other drugs. Government may insist on keeping the distinction. They can tax recreational use as more than medical use. In any case, we can garner much more support from fellow citizens when legalization efforts are rightfully carried under the banner of medical use. I just have to say this. I've always questioned it for like almost the past, I would say, hell, man, I would say maybe 37 years. 30, no, it's not 37 years. 35 years, I would say, roughly. I'll be very fair about marijuana use. I studied this when I was even younger. I've taken the initiative to read the book The Emperor's No Clothes by the late Jack Hare. These pharmaceutical companies don't like it. And petrochemical companies such as DuPont that support it, lobby on criminalizing marijuana. The truth is coming out. I'm always observant too because I know there's even a patent for marijuana by the DEA. So you got to be really observant. Don't just jump at the height completely. Look at examine everything thoroughly. I support the legalization of cannabis and other drugs. Victimless crime laws. No victim, no crime. Yeah, if you sell it to minors and so forth, that's a whole different ballgame. Like a joint or anything else, that's a different ballgame. But talk about especially consenting adults, and of course, kids who are on medical purposes. I'm not gonna condemn that. But the DEA is around running scared. The 10th Amendment is a great thing. I know that they're trying to do it again for medical marijuana in Florida. And I have to agree, like one of the liberty-minded folks, that it shouldn't be a constitutional thing. When you look at it, in the state of Florida, we have basic rights under Article 1, Section 2 of the Florida Constitution. But our natural-born rights are inalienable. Look it up. I'm not gonna put a link on there, but look it up. I did it enough times. Look it up. So yes, I say no victim, no crime. Two ways of stopping this to end the war on cannabis. One, get rid of the victims' crime laws, especially under this. And two, jury nullification. Everyone got the power to say no by saying not guilty. You can still send a strong message. This is real exciting. I'm very stoked what's going on this year. So I guess my energy levels too is just like boom, boom, boom. Just be firm, be vigilant, and call people out. These people too need to be called out. So stop. Oh, it looks like someone's gonna almost back into the vehicle. Got a nice big pickup truck. So, but the truth of the matter is, my friends, you gotta really be vigilant. That's why freedom of choice. Okay, it's a want, not a need, but medical purposes, yes. I know. Flip Upper Scott for Florida did sign that into law about medical cannabis. So, like little abstracts and all that, which is good. So I'm not in love with the man, but I thank him. But the whole thing is no victim, no crime. No victim, no crime. And you know what? And that is really it. I'd like to thank everyone for listening to this episode. So, plus, feel free and download this, download and share this throughout your entire social media network. If you have any questions, comments, compliments, criticisms, love letters, hate letters, or you got any information that I could be interested in, have an open mind. Don't worry. However, please use your comments with decorum. Honorable discussions are great. Mudslinging is just toilet paper. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, YouTube, World Truth, Scene.life. That's another a private social media group or website. Okay? Or you can email me at LokiLuck3, the number 3, LokiLuck3 is all together, at gmail.com. All right? So, before I go, I'm going to play another song from Agnostic Front. What happened was it looks like the downloading for a certain thing, the signal is pretty weak. So I take the initiative to do another song from Agnostic Front called The American Dream Died. Like like a little over 90 seconds, but it's pretty cool lyrics. And it's pretty fast beat too. All right? Thank you for listening to the show once again. Plus, always remember that demonic resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you. Enjoy the song.